Get 5 coffins ready.
Hey, what's up everybody, Shenmue here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Susano again, but this will be a more comprehensive look. Okay, we're going to go through absolutely everything, all the changes, all the big differences that you need to know so that you can play Susano in SMITE 2. Say you're not in the alpha? Then why are you watching? Start with, well, I guess if you want to go this build, that's fine. I find this build's a little too expensive. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. This is interesting. They give you the option to go a basic attack-based build, like an attack speed build. That's kind of weird to me. But anyways, obviously manual build. I'll show you guys the build in a second. Here's where the first big change comes in. Blink and beads. That is SMITE 1 in a nutshell. Not so in SMITE 2, though, because you have to go either blink or beads. And there's going to be some matches, I've already experienced it, where you cannot go blink. You just can't go blink, because there's no Magi's in this game, at least not right now. So, yeah, if you go blink, you're going to be stuck getting Ares ulted, you're going to be stuck getting Emir walled into an Emir freeze, into a Zeus stun. So, you know, you're going to get chain CC to death in some matchups. So, it's very important that you pick the right relic, and, you know, sometimes it's not fun going beads, but, like, sometimes you just got to nut up and you got to go beads, and you're not going to have access to blink. So that's where the first part of, like, balancing Susano comes out on, like, a fundamental level. So for me, generally, I try to go blink and play around the CC, but again, sometimes it's SMITE. Sometimes you're just going to have to go beats. But we'll do blink because obviously I want to show you some combos as well. Now, an aspect, this for me has become pretty cut and dry. He doesn't need Spiritualist, his clear is very good. But for me, I always go Barbarian so far because I feel like the damage is just too much, and it's true damage as well. And you can't proc it by accident like you can with Archmage. Archmage is cool and actually can help you clear because it boosts the your ability damage while you're clearing camps. But that's also an issue because yeah, you can proc it and has a 20-second cooldown. So if you proc it on a minion or something, like say you just 3 onto a minion, it procs your Archmage, and now you're diving in and you don't even have an aspect. Barbarian you cannot proc by accident, and that's why I like it the most right now. And I just don't really see the point of Spiritualist. So there you go, Barbarian. So okay, let's do an item build real quick. This is what I like to do. Obviously, at the start of the game, you just do your pots. I find 2 health pots is usually fine, and then 1 mana pot is usually okay. Either way is fine. If you want to do more, you want to do less, it's fine, because you can just sell your potions when you get back to base for full price. So that's another change in SMITE too. So you can buy as many pots as you want, really. You can just sell them off. It's totally fine. So build-wise, there's a little bit of flexibility. Generally going Jotuns first is pretty good. So Jotuns is a fair first starter, but keep in mind, it's not the definitive first item. Even though it is a good item, it is a good first item, but keep in mind there's 2 very cheap items I think are getting overlooked here and there. Brawler's, it's called Brawler's Ruin. I thought it was still Beat Stick. Okay, Brawler's Ruin has 50 strength for 2375 with health and mana regen for a jungler. That's fire right there. So that's actually a really good first item you can go. And Hydra's is very cheap as well, and still good on Susano, even though it's not the best item in the game. And it also gives you a lot of mana. So I mean, you can go one of these first as well. Generally, this is how I like this is fairly cheap, a decent amount of CDR, and like some sustain while you're jungling. Obviously not really sustain while you're fighting. So that's why I like Bloodforged Blade here. Fourth, you can go Obsidian Shredder here if you'd like. But generally speaking, considering Lifesteal works off abilities now, Susano having a million AoE abilities, it's super easy for him to lifesteal a lot. And like if you Bloodforged Blade at this point in the game, well, I don't have my levels, but yeah. 200 health shield is pretty good, and obviously all the lifesteal that comes with Bloodforged Blade, so I like it there. And then Obsidian Shredder for some pen, but obviously you can go this sooner. It's very good for Susano because obviously a million abilities and they're all AoE, so proccing this on basically everyone in the game is really nice. It helps you shred right through any bruiser or anything, so you could actually go this a little bit earlier if you really wanted to. It's not like it's expensive anyways. 24.75, that's not too bad. And then last item, whatever luxury strength item you want. Avatar's Parashu, right? Is that it? If you want to do like an all-in combo, this is pretty cool. But the one I like actually is Pendulum Blade the most, to be honest. It helps you get out of a lot of sticky situations, but it is really expensive, so you can just go the Avatar item. All right, so let's get into the actual abilities. So his off the rip, his one is actually different. So for one, actually, I can just show you right now. I probably should have shown you this before I bought items with cooldown. But anyways, so it starts at 14 seconds, which is actually lower than it was in Smite 1, and ends at 10 seconds, I believe. So that's a nice little change, because this is his, like, it's a very balanced dash in the sense that he needs to do the first two slashes, and then he can, like, dash through people and stuff. But that's actually where part of the changes come in. The first two slashes actually don't deal that much damage. They do less damage than they did in Smite 1, I believe. But the dash does more damage. So they've spread the damage out even more. If you guys don't know... Oh, whoops. I should probably have made him a higher level before I did that. If you guys don't know, in Smite 1, the first two slashes of Susano's one originally did all the damage, and the dash did none. It was completely unbalanced, so they made the dash do damage, and like spread out the damage. In this game, they've actually spread out the damage even more. So it's a little more like you have to. A lot of the times I've noticed I've actually really had to dash through people. You can say it's my build, okay? You can roast my build, it's all good. But thus far, I've definitely noticed the damage difference. I would like, bro. They haven't done this yet, but high-risk bros, like, make Susano be able to cancel his dash. That'd be so. Imagine you do this, and then like you dash cancel like on Cernanos or something, and you like turn around and basic attack, bro. That'd be so sick. But anyways, so let's move on to his second ability. We'll get to his passive in a second, but let's get to his second ability. So the second ability is basically the exact same cooldown and everything. Similar sort of like, this is sort of a bursty ability actually, but they did change the mana cost, which is nice. So that's a good plus. It was like 80 mana or 60, 80 mana, something like that for the longest time. Kind of unnecessary, but yeah. So it's pretty much the same ability, but it does have some physics differences. But obviously, as of right now, that's not too important. We're not going to get into that just yet. Okay, so Susano's 3 isn't working perfectly right now. I've had a lot of times where I'm mashing 3 and I don't teleport for a little while, or I completely lose the ability to teleport. It's been on and off. It's usually like to do with if I get hit with if I activate something that reduces cooldowns or something, or I have a lot of cooldown reduction, it tends to like break the ability to teleport. But so that's just something to be aware of. Not that important. But here's where the first part of like the physics of the two are different, and the interactions with the two are different. If you used to be able in Smite 1, if you had a 3 on somebody, you pulled them in with your 2 and then teleported, you would actually bounce underneath them. Totally pointless, right? But it's a good way to like show it doesn't work like that anymore. It does not work like that. And occasionally, like the knockup just won't go off if they're already not, well, the pull, sorry, won't go off if they're already knocked up. For example, with his ultimate. So let's talk about that one. So his ultimate is probably the most changed thing about Susano, other than having a completely different passive. So they balance this in a lot of different ways. So first and foremost, you can knock up immediately. You can do an immediate knockup, but as you saw, the knockup wasn't very big, and it does not get any bigger if you let it wind up. Obviously, the damage is a lot more, but yeah, if you just let it rip, it will knock up immediately. But as you saw, it really doesn't do that much damage, and it doesn't knock up that much. So yeah, you can't. And it's definitely smaller and has less range than it did in Smite 1 as well. So it's not just like your Bach is flopping the entire team for 800 damage anymore. So I think that's a pretty decent way to make him more like an assassin, rather than just like an assassin who just so happens to be able to CC the entire enemy team, So this makes it a little more direct. And as you saw, the damage still, I have full build, that damage wasn't that great. But if we go here, and we keep him in the Typhoon, it is doing damage over time. And as you can tell, that's more like the damage you would get in Smite 1, if not a little bit more if they hit with every single tick. So that's sort of how they made him a little bit more of like an assassin's assassin. Because now the idea is you really want to just like get on top of somebody, keep them in there, and do your stuff. So that's good time to talk about his passive as well. So there was a little bit of I saw on Reddit people were a little confused by this. Really all it is just basic attack cancel after you use an ability, and every single hit of Stormkata gives you one stack. That's the basics of how it works. So you really can't tell. I know you can't really tell on the Amir bot, but that's how this is working. Every single time you cast an ability, your next basic attack, if it hits an enemy god. So you can see, use an ability, now my passive's active for 3 seconds. There's a passive stack. There's a passive stack. I'm pretty sure if you just 3 and then basic attack someone, that it only counts for 1. I'm pretty sure if you do the classic, if you do the reactivation, that will not count as 2 stacks, but obviously that will. those are the basics of Susano, some stuff to look out for. And another big thing, I almost forgot, knock up, you can't pull. You can't pull after you've knocked up. That's a bit of a shame, but I do understand it. I understand it because, like, since the knockup is like, oh, I didn't have to reset it. Since the knockup is pretty much instant now, what you can do instead is just that. You could just 3 after you ult. Not a big deal, not a huge gameplay change. It's just to displace people less, I think. I mean, they might change it eventually. Maybe just like the CC isn't where they want it right now, like the CC physics. So maybe in the future they'll let you pull off the ultimate. But I do get from like a balance perspective not wanting to allow an assassin to displace someone that much. So that's fair. So you can see they made Susano a lot more fair in this game. You can't go blink every game anymore. You can't knock up and then displace someone towards you. You can only allow yourself to dive in, right? And thus far, I've noticed like tank Susano is not very good. You want a lot of damage on Susano for sure. So he's way more of a knife's edge than he was in Smite 1. And even then, people had a lot of issues with this character, trying to pull him off in like intense situations, trying to get the base attack cancels off. But obviously, as you can tell, most things are pretty much the same. You can go like, there you go, like that. But yeah, you're probably going to want to put your 3 on people, not start 1ing them like an idiot. But anyways, so you can still do the Frost Jack combo, kind of, but you got to be a little bit careful with your timing, because if you knock up with the ult first, you're just going to be doing your least damaging ability on them instead. So yeah, I think these are a lot of cool changes to Susano. I think he's going to be a lot less annoying to deal with. I think he's cooler visually, I would say, other than the ultimate. And yeah, I would say on the whole, I like him a lot. I'm going to need more practice on him, actually, than I thought, because there's some things like hard ingrained, like, you know, ulting and then pulling immediately, or not pulling immediately, but you know what I mean. Like, while they're knocked up, like, pulling them, but instead you want a 3 pretty much every single time, just to give yourself some options. So he still has all those mind games and stuff, so yeah, I think those are the basics of Susano. How did I talk for 13 minutes? This was supposed to be, like, 6 minutes. But anyways, that's Susano in Smite 2. A lot of the changes and an item build for you, and then, yeah, whatever this is called, I completely forgot. My attunement, right? Yeah, that's my favorite attunement for Susano as well. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.